My biggest thing is really to make an impact in the roofing industry and make the industry better.
We're going to be $1 billion company.
We need better people and we need better processes.
Consistency, real, own it, winners win, and no excuses.
So every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there's going to be an opportunity. And I need you to take advantage of that opportunity.
All right, fam. Here we go. We're going to start this out with the CEO panel. I am going to have them introduce themselves, and then we will jump into questions. And obviously, I get to ask the first one, and then I'll let you guys go after. And we will kick it off right now with my man, Martin.
Thank you. My name is Martin Pettigrew with Monarch Roofing. I'm obsessed with customer service and customer acquisition. We base this whole business on this. I want to provide the customers with what they deserve the best. And we built a roofing machine to explain this. And very excited to be here, but very passionate about everybody in here. We started a new company called Reeva, and we want to coach roofing companies on what Monarch Roofing has done to help owner get what they deserve the best.
What's up, guys? I'm Josh Yerke, founder and CEO of Smart Roof. We are the largest roofing contractor in the Mid-Atlantic, and we've doubled sales every year for the last 5 years, so I'd like to bring you guys some value.
What's going on, guys? My name is Devin Anderson. I am the co-founder and CEO of Source Energy. We are a home energy solution company based out of Denver, Colorado. We specialize in energy efficiency upgrades, solar. We specialize in direct person-to-person sales. So big win for us last year is we did about $20 million gross revenue in business, so super exciting.
Hello everyone, I'm David Williamson with Titan Solar Power. Thank you for that, Matt. 2021 was a good year for us. We had a big fail though. We just finished under $2 billion in sales, so $1.9 billion. I apologize for that, I could have worked harder.
Hello, I am Adam Champaign, and I am the CEO and owner of a family of companies, including Solar Energy World, Home Fix Custom Remodeling, and Installation Services. 2021 was a challenging year for us. Our solar exploded, almost doubled. Had to face challenges with install, but our top line did really well. And we're looking forward to 2022, growing the other sectors as well.
What's up, everybody? My name is Derek Landino. I was the COO and co-founder of Summit Solar previously before Titan Solar acquired our operational division. I stepped down as a silent partner. Now I'm the director of sales with Sunrun. I also am the CEO of a few other franchise groups that I own as well. So,
I love it. Give it up to the CEO panel, please. All right, so I wanna kick this off to get the juices flowing. I kind of want you guys to go through, and I want you to tell your big wins for 2021 and kind of the struggles, and then how you guys are going to change that going into 2022. Got it? Are we good? And then I'll open it up above the floor, and then we'll just rapid fire. Sound good? Derek, you're up, my man.
And I would say our biggest win of 2021 was the successful acquisition that Titan purchased our operational division. That was an amazing thing for us coming out of COVID, and it was really successful. The struggle was also getting through that. Going through an acquisition can be tough. Learning a lot of new systems and processes and things like that. And so our team in Titan did a really wonderful job trying to get all of our accounts moving forward and making that acquisition successful. And so it was both a success and a struggle. Obviously, giving away control from an operational perspective over to someone like Titan. And so that was a success and a struggle. And I would say for 2022, for me, obviously coming on, leaving as an entrepreneur, coming on with someone like Sunrun, just humbling myself, going back to kind of helping build with a larger publicly traded company, while also working, with my other franchise groups and making sure that I'm managing my time properly through, all three different groups
Awesome. One of the biggest challenges we had in 2021, maybe more of a personal point, is to start working on the business instead of in the business. You hear this all the time, but it was a big transition. Finally, at the end of 2021, I was able to have 3 general manager, 1 for each location, and I'm finally able to work on the business again. It happened 2 years ago, and it's happening again now. But my biggest thing is really to make an impact in the roofing industry and make the industry better. So that was my goal last year, and I challenged myself with Dmitry Lipinski actually challenged me to finish writing my book. So I wrote a book, The Roofing Machine, so we can find a channel to help roofing companies to not go so many hardship. You know, roofing is so difficult, but there's not much people that are sharing information that it's proper. So I just challenge everybody for this year to stop competing with each other and start dominating your market. You know, we're all courageous. Start being compliant with who you see in your market and start doing what you feel right inside of you and your gut. So this year we're launching 2022 is Reeva, and it's a company to train roofing companies how to the roofing machine.
Yeah, I think our biggest struggle last year was every year we set a goal to double our sales from the prior year, and that's pretty difficult, especially we're in the 6th year now of that, and when you get to the 9-figure mark, it gets really difficult. But we have aspirations to be like Dave's company. We're going to be $1 billion company, and I think, you know, if you're chasing just that number, it's going to be very difficult. But one of the things that we did really well is we focused on the personal growth of our team and making sure that we're investing in our people and helping them grow as individuals. Because these goals are not easy, and doubling in size causes all types of, or doubling in sales causes all types of problems for production, right? You have a massive influx of new projects, and it can be very challenging if they're not bought into what you're doing and they're not developing as individuals. It's going to make it very difficult. So we look to double down on that this coming year and run it back again.
What's going on, guys? So in 2021, our biggest problem, our biggest opportunity and our biggest win was definitely getting the right people into the business to look at a lot of and reveal a lot of issues within our organization. And our biggest issue with that then was realizing that we need better people and we need better processes. So a lot of business owners here that you'll see are predominantly coming from a sales background, and as natural salespeople, we like to be reactive and have this mindset of immediate solutions, and bringing a lot of operational minded people into our organization has given us the ability to identify, and there's so many systems and processes within our organization that we can create to just automate the business long term. So that was our biggest problem.
Titan's biggest problem last year was the problem that most of you guys have bitched about before, and it's slow cycle times. Thank you for that. We love hearing about it. Please post more on Facebook. We are going to get better at that, and that's what we are working on all last year. We're going to have a front-end app that's going to help us in next year to help salespeople canvas, track all the leaderboard stuff that we've never offered before, because our company has always been a pure EPC, just do the construction and not a lot of flash on the front end. So we're changing that going into next year. My biggest, source of excitement for this next year is the fact that we are actually going to have leadership that is taking over more responsibility instead of Kyle, my business partner, and I doing it. So Matt Cronwald and Chrissy Coonrod elevated to VP of Sales, VP of Operations. So if you guys have questions afterwards, they know the answers. You can ask me, and I'm just going to text them. So we're excited about 2022. We want to grow even bigger. We only have 188 install crews. I want 288 install crews hired this year. We want more employees, more revenue for you guys, more jobs for the installers, just the industry to keep growing.
Yeah, we had a very challenging year in 2021, and it probably mirrored a lot of the challenges that all of you faced. And it really came down to, we had leaders that were probably not prepared and not trained for the positions that they were in. And we had an org chart that really didn't make a lot of sense. So we weren't set up for success to face the challenges of recruiting or face the challenges of install systematically. So the greatest thing about 2021 is it really uncovered all the ugly sores that we weren't really acknowledging during the years where we were just having explosive growth and explosive sales. So this year, we have completely reorged the company, which is not easy when there's 700 employees total across the 3 organizations. We've gone from 7 levels of management and titles, and we actually identified we had 83 different titles in our company, 83 different job titles, 36 different roles. We've condensed that all down to where there's 4 layers of management and really precise and accountable directives for each role. I myself, to execute this, decided that my role to it was just to become Nick Saban, that I'm gonna hit the streets and find the leaders to do it. And I was able in 30 days to bring in 6 high-level VPs from around the country, recruit them, land them, bring them in and move them to different locations so that they can start executing.
I love it. I love it. So, as you guys can honestly see, they're human like us. They go through ups and downs. I'm going to open the floor up to questions. You guys have any questions for this amazing panel?
What are each of your company's core values?
I'll start with ours. So ours are ACE, authentic, coachable, and enthusiastic, and just a background of how they were created is our leadership team sat down and we used describing words of every single exemplary person and what it means to be at Source Energy, and then we categorized it in each category. So authentic is respectful, kind, and humble. We express loyalty through gratitude and team collaboration. Coachable is we are well-trained, well-spoken professionals. We learn, we grow, we win. And enthusiastic is we are committed, competitive leaders. We're resilient, driven, and courageous. So it wasn't some shit we just found off of Google. Every single time we say our core values, our people will stand up and say, that's me. So that's how we created our core values.
Core values, yeah, I think it's very important to reinforce what you're asking. The core values are so powerful if they are implemented, right? So if you have core values and they sit in a book somewhere, or it doesn't do anything, even if you put on the walls. So I think what you're asking into, if you're a leader, you need to embody those values. So we came up with Monarch Roofing is the crown, our logo has got a crown in it. And its core values: consistency, real, own it, winners win, and no excuses. And we implement this through our whole company, how we hire, how we do reviews for our customer, for our owner, for our employees. And that's how we were able to establish a lot of the process for our company.
In one of my companies, it's make friends, have fun, and be authentic. Like, be you, be authentic. I want to ask, how many of, is there a lot of entrepreneurs in here that own their own companies? How many of you have read Gino Wickman's the book Traction? Okay, that changed the game for me. To one thing that you said was working on the business and not in the business, and it actually talks a lot about establishing your core values, things like that. They work off what's called an EOS operating system, and what it allows you to do is have 90-minute meetings once a week, and you focus on weekly, monthly, and quarterly meetings, but it allows you to really work on the business and not in the business. And so I do that with each one of my companies, where I'm not in the business, I'm working on it, where I get a snapshot weekly for 90 minutes where we go through financials, our rocks, which is basically goals or accomplishments that each one of our employees want to accomplish for the week, the month, and the quarter, and they get to tell me exactly how they're going to accomplish those things. And so that book changed the game for me. I always felt like I was in the grind, I could never get out of it, and it's like, man, I thought the point of doing this was to really enjoy it. I wasn't having a lot of fun at times, and so that book I highly recommend to everybody. And don't just read that book, study it. Study that book, and it will change the game for you. Make sure you implement that system, and it's called a level 10 meeting. It's a 90-minute meeting that will, and every week we go over our core values in each one of our companies, and it's allowed me to kind of operate with 3 different types of industries that I'm in, and it's really helped me specifically.
We try and follow one kind of true north, and it has never failed us yet, which is improving lives. And if we all just have the same focus to improve the lives of our customers, of our coworkers, of everyone we touch, that it just keeps coming back to us tenfold. And whenever I'm faced with a tough decision at work, I think, all right, if I have a crossroads, what will improve the most lives of my company and the people I work with and my customers? What action can I take what will affect them in the good way the most? And if I choose that path, every single time it comes back to me 10 or 100-fold. So we stick with that. And just to add what you were saying about recommendation, there's a book, Execution. If you read one book, I think all of you would relate to. We're really good at strategically. We can come up with great ideas. We can conquer the world. We see things and we figure out how to build things and create companies and create sales processes. But we're not always the best executors as CEOs. It's not usually our job. Our job is to inspire people and bring people to the company. So execution is something that I've been learning a lot, and is kind of one of the things that's going to guide me this year. And the way I've done it is hiring really good executors to help me take the ideas out of my head and make them reality.
Yeah, I think when you're setting your core values, you first have to figure out what your brand is as a company. So if you look at most businesses, their brand is one of three things: a really good product, or they treat their customers well, they have really good customer service, or their brand is that they have an amazing culture, amazing place to work. If you look at Tesla, right, they have an amazing product. In the solar business, we all know what their service is like, right? Or if you look at Amazon, they're all focused around the customer. And so for us, it's all about our people, and investing in our people is our brand. We have an amazing culture in our company, and I think that once you've established your core values, ours is to impact the lives of, very similar to Adam, impact the lives of our employees first, then our customers, and then our community. And once you've done that, you need to sit down with all of your people, and you need to help them figure out what their core values are as an individual, so that you can figure out who they are, understand them better, and help them grow. And just like Adam said, that's the greatest investment you can make as a CEO, is to invest in your people, and the return is, it's unlimited.
Relative to core values, if you guys go to our website, we've got a list of core values. But I think the biggest thing that we do in the industry, I think that the biggest thing we do is we treat people fairly. There's going to be things that happen in the solar industry as it relates to sales and operations where the salesperson feels like they're getting screwed over. We went to do an install and we had to do an emergency MPU. It's an expense that we now have to take, but no one could have foreseen it. Well, we don't want to just hit the sales rep with $2,000 or $2,500 less commission, so we say, listen, this is a bummer, this happened, no one could have seen it. And they say, well, what's going to happen? Like, do we feel like we can split it? They go, well, that's fair. If you just hit the salesperson with a trip charge after the 101st mile, that's not very fair, because 100 miles wouldn't be a trip charge. So we're trying to be super fair, and for the longest time during our growth in the solar industry, we didn't even have a dealer agreement. I don't think that we didn't sign a dealer agreement when we started out with Sun Solar, did we? It was just a handshake, right? It was a red line and let's go. So we've had dealer agreements that are in place now just for normal protections, but we've always tried to treat people fair. Does this expense make sense? No. Well, let's find out who should pay for that. Should the customer pay for that? Should we pay for that? Should the rep pay for that? And if you treat everyone from a position of fairness, people will get that, even if they don't like the outcome. I mean, sometimes you walk away from a negotiation and both people are pissed off, but at least it was fair. I think Matt treats everyone fair in his role. Chrissy is good at that too. So our whole leadership team understands what is fair and what is right almost in any situation. So that would be our core values, just fair, but there's a whole list of them. I didn't write them, Kyle did.
Hey, one thing I would like to say with that too, I'm sure there's a lot of opinions on a company their size and their growth, but from experience, like, he's being honest. Obviously, they're not perfect, but the team, everything that we experienced through that acquisition, they were very fair, honest, and it honestly was an amazing experience. More so because of their people. Their people were amazing, and again, they're not perfect. They make mistakes, but he's speaking from the truth there. It was they have amazing people, and they are fair. So,
love it. Next question.
Hey guys, I want to know, what about Summit Solar's operations department stood out to Titan that prompted the acquisition?
It was, honestly, I couldn't tell you if it was the operations that stood out. It was more the leadership, talking with Derek and Josh Williams, not Wilson. Is in my phone that way?
Williams, yeah.
Always does. I always call the wrong Josh. Those guys are what stood out. That was the reason why we already had a decent relationship with those guys. And I knew they were running a decent business because they were running it. And they have every question answered, and they knew what their business was doing, and they knew the challenges in their business. So when we finally had a discussion about acquiring them, it wasn't at a point where they were in critical condition. Like it's been a couple other acquisitions. We've acquired 4 or 5 other companies this year, and they were a mess, but they were going to go out of business unless we bailed them out, essentially. And that wasn't the case with Summit. Summit was a put together operation. And I can tell you, during the acquisition, there's probably more failures on our side with not communicating enough during the process, because we were used to really disorganized companies, and taking them over was different than theirs. So if anything, if I could talk to anybody at Summit and say one thing, I'd say, sorry, we screwed that up. It wasn't as smooth as it should have been.
Good job, Derek.
Thank you.
Okay, going off of that, I was going to ask you, David, because I did visit the Titan facility in Arizona, and the systems in place are crazy, to where like the marker is placed like with the cap facing a certain way, and this is for everybody. But how much deliberate planning do you put into creating systems, or is it like a trial and error? And how do you evaluate your systems, and how quick are you to change them, or to like make adjustments to the systems? Because the systems in your operations are crazy. They're insane. They're phenomenal.
So, David, before you answer that, I want to open that up to everyone, and the reason being is it could go, like, the pivot is important, but I want to hear from you first, and then I'll open it up to the floor, because I want to know, what's the pivot look like through business when you want to evaluate your systems and be more efficient and things like that. Cool?
The systems we have in place are through 9 years of trial and error. We try this, try that, and if it does work, we keep going with it. New scenarios keep popping up. Every time we launch into a new state, there's a new jurisdiction, there's a new code, there's a new requirement from utility. So we keep having to change the platform. But we consider ourselves relatively nimble, even though in the industry people think of Titan as a big company. We don't think of it that way. We think of it as a mom and pop. I mean, I say it all the time, we're just a family-owned and operated place. Obviously, everybody knows I'm talking shit. We're obviously huge, but we think like a small installer. We want to hear, like, if a sales rep says, I'm pissed off about this one thing in this one jurisdiction in this really small area, tell us what it was so we can put something in place where it doesn't happen again. There should always be a correction to every time there's a bad experience. And sometimes the bad experience is because of humans in the process. If the machine works, then it catches most things. But there are humans that will make mistakes in operations. I'll miss a text, I'll miss a phone call, and it could have cost the customer 3 hours worth of a timeline. So I understand that humans will make the most amount of mistakes in the process, but wanting the feedback from our sales partners, from our installers, we do internal surveys all the time, and we always want the feedback. Chrissy and Matt and I travel a lot. We go to sales offices around the nation, and one of the first things we say is, if you don't tell us what we're doing wrong, we won't know how to fix it. You have to tell us when we're screwing up. Try to be nicer about it. I hate getting yelled at. Those mean text in all caps. Is Andrew Weiss here, by the way? Never mind. Now he's out of the country, everybody knows that. So, point is, we always want to improve, and we always want to be nimble no matter how big the company gets. Every one of our branches operates as a separate little company, and we want to improve the process everywhere.
So I think it definitely starts at the top first, and holding yourself accountable as a CEO to follow the processes that you put in place, because there is nobody really telling us what to do. It's really hard to get that kind of 360-degree, reflection back at yourself. I am incredibly nimble. When I feel that something is wrong, I have no problem pivoting. I'm not married to any decisions I made. I am constantly soliciting feedback from vendors who I consider our partners, from the reps, from the canvassers, from operations. I travel to all of our locations up and down the East Coast, and when I'm there, I make sure I sit down at every level of the operation and ask very questions that will incite answers that they'll give me real honest feedback, because a lot of them at that level are probably afraid to be honest with me about what's going on. And then once I do, I then have to coach operationally people that, because somebody brings us something that's broken, you instinctually want to fix it. But oftentimes there's already a process in place within the company that would have solved it. We're just not doing it. So you can't first react to create a new process or a one-off process. And then something we're starting this year, we started at a small kind of business section, then expanded through the company, is a weekly change management meeting where there is a process that's broken, somebody finds something, they're gonna propose a change management, bring it to the table, and make sure we know how to communicate it out to everyone, how to get it across the company, how to relay it to vendors, and who we might be forgetting that also needs to be communicated that change.
I think, I'm a systems guy, and I've learned through failures and trial and error that sometimes I think we can spend way too much time trying to cultivate systems, and in this industry we need to be super agile. But I think we also need to remember that our people are our greatest assets, and you need to be able to empower your people to make decisions that are based on your core values and your mission. And so I think I've noticed that in the past I've created all kinds of good systems and procedures, and I try to fit these people to only follow these systems and procedures, and they become robots. And it's, at times, they don't make decisions for themselves. And so it's a thin line that you have to run, where you have to still empower your people, and number one, hire really, really good people that fit your core values. And from there, make them understand that you want them to make decisions that align with your core values. And yes, you want them to follow procedures and systems, but you also want them to be human and make good decisions, decisions that they feel like should be made, for your company. And so I think that's super important. Sometimes I think we sit around and we try to build too many systems, and then literally, a month to 3 months later, you got to change those systems. And so I think it's more important to be agile and to be able to change quickly and adapt and hire people like that. And really empower your people to make decisions within your company. That's super important.
I love this. This is awesome. I like the adaptation part of what you're saying, and we believe in, like you're saying, the system. To adapt the system. It's never a people problem. If you have the right people on, you hire from your core values. You really filter through with disc assessment to hire the right people that are passionate about what they're doing. I think it becomes a part of the system. The how is going to be important, but it's going to change all the time. But if you can find a way to structure your business, your job description for employees that are very, very simplified. It came from the book, The One Thing, and Eric Thomas was talking about this yesterday. A little bit like EOS as well, where you were talking earlier, but we had a major problem in our sales guys. We had a lot of turnover because our sales guys, we were paying them commission, and then the job description was really big. Because in roofing, you can be bringing materials to a job site, you can bring samples to homeowner. You do a lot of different things when you're in sales for roofing. So we simplified to be like, okay, we need to find a way to have our salesmen that are outside focusing on sales. So now our outside salesmen focus on doing inspection, they meet adjusters, and they present for homeowners. Everything else has to be done by somebody else. So instead of having salesmen that were burned out at the end of 18 months, like the first 6 months they're on fire, they're excited. 12 months later, they were doing very well, but about 18 months they were just burned out because they're focused on the wrong thing. So we minimized their job description to really, really specifically perform 1, 2, 3 things at the most and be the best in the world at this, and repetition to that skill, so they can become something special. So the process procedure, I think, is very important. We wrote it all down, but create a roofing machine and be adaptive to the system. Never say it's their fault. It's always your fault as a leader.
Yeah, I agree with Derek. I think that if I could go back and change one thing in the beginning, it would be when I'm choosing my software, to make sure that I'm choosing a software, in particular CRM, that is open and flexible to building the CRM around our business. So in the beginning, we chose one that they're not open to change, really. It's like, hey, this is our product, this is what you get, and either you figure it out or you don't. And we had to create a bunch of workarounds that created a mess that we got out of, but if you're, I don't know where you are in your business, but if I could give you one piece of advice on systems, it would be to choose software that is open to changing and adapting with your business. Because in 2022, I mean, the metaverse is here. Like they're about to start putting chips in our brains. Like Neuralink is coming. Like shit's changing so fast. And if you're like, no, this is the way we do it every single time, you're just gonna get left behind, right? Like we have roofing, we have solar. Now there's solar roofs. Like some of you guys don't even know that exists. You know, and if you're not instilling a culture of change is good, change is how we make progress, change is how we grow as humans, it's gonna be very difficult for you to keep up with what's coming.
So before I dive into the answer, for a show of hands, raise your hand if door-to-door direct selling is your main thing. Cool, same. So going back to the 2021 recap is, one, every single system you create should be based off of the end in mind, as well as the greatest systems are caught, not taught. In other words, as business owners, especially in the sales side, instead of going in the field and identifying what needs to get done, we want to create all these processes and not have the main thing be the main thing. So that would be my feedback in terms of like systems and processes. But the other thing that I wanted to point out is just making sure when you create a process, keep the end in mind and then reverse engineer. Every single process that you want to create, you should be asking yourself, how is this going to influence and encourage the behavior that I want to create? So if you want to drive more revenue, you want to create a process that's going to encourage and incentivize whoever's integrating those systems to then do that. But it's like, if your responsibility is to be in the field and you're a direct seller, keep the main thing, and be a chief evangelist officer. Go out there and preach the things that you need to know you need to do, and don't focus and be in the weeds. Focus on the thing that's going to generate the most revenue, and then keep them end in mind and then reverse engineer. So that would be my feedback in terms of processes and systems. I feel like we overcomplicate the basic things.
I love it. I got a question right here in the front.
So my question would be, when it comes to roadmaps and company roadmaps, do you have like the vision statement you work on, and then from there you reverse engineer the roadmap for year to year, and then you correct it as you go, or how does that work?
I just want to get two of you to answer that. So however you guys want to do it.
Can you just about roadmaps a little bit louder so I can understand it? I think I understand the question, but.
So when it comes to the company vision and the roadmap, do you basically have the vision statement, and then from there you break it down on like a 10-year plan where you have certain goals you want to hit, or how do you create the company roadmap?
Yeah, I would definitely say like a 10-year roadmap is probably a waste of time because things change so quickly now. What I would say is, yeah, you really want to sit in a room or wherever you can and really deep dive on exactly what you're trying to accomplish. But I would say what most people do is they have a start goal and they have an end goal. And what they don't understand is that in between those goals, there's going to be a lot of curves and ups and downs. And I think typically they'll give up where they think that they need to change their end goal because of those things. And so I would just say that you should never change your end goal. You just should understand that you may get there in a different way. I mean, we experience that so often in a couple of my different companies. And the number one thing is we just don't change our end goal. We don't give up. We just understand that we may get there a different way, but we need to keep our head down and again, be adaptable and understand that there is going to be change. And so I would just say really identify your starting goal and then where you really want to end up, and just don't change based on how you're going to get there.
It's a great question. I think if you start with, you can have goals like financial goals. It's always a good motivator for sure. I think if you know your why, deep down why you're doing this, I really believe in serving. I'm from Canada, and it's not a big thing, but I'm an immigrant from another country, so I feel like I owe you and I owe everybody here to serve and give back so we can become better. So my way with homeowners is I want to give them what they deserve the best. So I don't really set up a numbers. I'm going to set a way to touch as many people as possible to give them what they deserve the best. So if I can set the production to do it right, then I'm going to increase sales. Let's do more sales. And I'm going to push it through closing rates instead of go for financial. Get a great example for this. In 2018, we started implementing the roofing machine with inside sales and outside sales, and we have this guy here, Mark, that started with us, and he asked me, he's like, Martin, what's my goal for this year? And I told him, I could not tell him anything. And my mind was like, if you can do 2.5 million, it'd be awesome. But I refrained myself because I don't know what his potential is, and this is a new thing. So instead of doing this, we're like, okay, go sell as much as you can, and we'll figure it out. So I'm not sure if I help you, but if you have something inside of you that really, why am I doing this? I think that's your startup with this.
Steven, I know you said 2 people. Could I speak on this?
Absolutely.
I'll be quick.
Absolutely.
So I plan pretty aggressively, super far, and I actually know that's probably why I'm the wealthiest 21-year-old in this building right now. I plan 10 years, 25 years, 30 years, and I just understand without a shadow of a doubt that things are bound to change, but I'm agile with that. And my biggest advice to you or anyone in this room is don't think too small. And even when you're like, oh, I'm thinking big, think bigger. Because that's 100%, every single person in this room right now, that's the biggest thing holding their back, is they don't think big enough. So dude, think bigger. Just think bigger. And then once you're like, holy crap, that's scary, think even bigger. Because that's literally the only thing that's holding you back. And it doesn't matter how, like I have core values for myself, a vision, a mission statement, but it's just think as big as you possibly can, and then just push yourself to continue more, and then do the fucking work.
Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you. Questions back here?
How's it going? So I started a company about 1.5 years ago, and one of the main things that I've ran into is organization within a CRM and just managing all of the projects and all of like the installs. And right now we're using between like Google Sheets and Sales Rabbit and all these different CRMs and call tools and Podio and all these things. And I wanted to know if you guys had like a recommendation or something that, hey, I used this, I focused on this, and this allowed me to focus on everything else that I need to focus on and have like a system with the right CRM, if that makes sense.
Are we allowed to give plugs here?
So, hell, why not? Go for it.
What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, for like a smaller company like we were, I mean, it was imperative that we found a company that could do a lot of things for us. If you're not working, you know, with a Sunrun or some of these larger companies, and so, you know, we worked with Solo from day one, and you know, they were amazing and allowed us to go focus on the things that we do best. And you know, obviously there's ups and downs there, but yeah, we chose Solo and HubSpot were our 2 main CRMs, I would say, and they gave us the opportunity just to go focus on what we did best. So.
Well, one, I would say, welcome to the club. I think everybody has that exact same problem, no matter what size. You've implemented some piece of technology that was supposed to solve all your problems, and now it doesn't do that one thing, or it doesn't connect with something, or something you didn't realize. So what I would say was, don't always be looking for the next best thing. There's a lot of different vendors out there. I, again, like to treat my vendors like partners and not adversaries, and work with them. And then when you're onboarding a piece of technology, make sure that you just spend a lot of time vetting it, making sure it's configured for you. Maybe if you're gonna ask for more, instead of more negotiating on the price or users, getting more and more configuration to make sure it works for your people. And then one thing that I've learned, because I have implemented a lot of technology, more than anything, is you can't have your users use it enough while you're planning for new technology. The leaders only know so much, and you have to bring the people in, and we're all too busy. Every one of us at our company, we don't have a single person probably that can stop doing their job just to test technology, but it's just so important. So if you bring them in and let them play with it and go through the entire life cycle from lead to cash with that technology, you're gonna learn a lot before you implement it.
The panel before this, those were the nerds, right? Yeah, this is a different panel. You should have been here an hour ago. But I would use Podio because it's free for now.
Anybody in the roofing industry here? Very good, very good. So we use CRM, we use AccuLinks for our production, and then we started using Follow Up Us about 3 years ago. It's a real estate based platform, but it's for our follow-up with our customers, so on the sales side.
Perfect. Next question.
Hi, my question's for Mr. Williamson. I'm a solar rep for Titan in Arizona. A lot of the times, we know the competition is big right now. What would you suggest makes Titan stand out when we're facing 2, 3 other proposals in front of us? Why should a customer choose Titan?
That's great. First of all, you can call me David. I'm just gonna call me Mr. David. The reason to use Titan, I don't know. Should I look right at Sun Solar while I answer it? We have our own branded module. There's module manufacturers that are begging to white label for us. I believe we're the only installer that has white labeling for the Solar Edge inverter. We have white labeling on our racking system, so a customer can get a Titan panel, Titan inverter, Titan racking with a 25-year warranty from Titan. And starting on Monday, there is a 30-year Titan loan at 2.99% interest rate that gets launched, I believe, as soon as Solo and Sonobi figure out their platform. So the whole process has our label on it. We're the biggest in Arizona. We've been the biggest in Arizona for the longest time. We are not going out of business. This is not an empire. So we're the most solid installer there is. Oh, yeah, there's no empire people here. They're all gone. All those things. I mean, and we're gonna be able to stand behind the product for the longest time. A lot of companies are starting out. We're sales companies, got into operations. They want to realize top line revenue so they can be sold and then get out of the game and buy a Ford Raptor and a cabin in Idaho. We're not looking to do that. We're looking to have a service department that can service clients for the next 25 years and make a business out of that. We have a separate company called Titan Electrical Services, which does just that. So we're not trying to get in, get a buck, and get out. We're trying to build something that's going to go on for a long time. That's why I would go with Titan. Plus, it really helps me buy more shoes.
Next question.
With employees being your biggest asset, how are you guys providing recognition to them?
I've mentioned their teams twice. I've been recognizing them the whole time. Matt and Chrissy, everybody. Matt and Chrissy, the best.
So I think you have to be aware that celebration, right? So taking your reps on trips or giving them a watch or providing them some type of monetary reward for their work doesn't mean that you're giving them recognition. So one of the things that we do is we have our weekly sales meeting, and if someone would perform exceptionally well, they'll get up and they may not be the VP of sales, but they will present the entire meeting. And then after, we'll talk to them about how did you feel, how did it go? Do you think this is something that you would like to do long term? And show them that, hey, there is a path for you. You may be a sales rep right now, but we believe that you could be the next VP by doing that. And having them experience that really gets them bought into what you're doing and that they have a path forward. Because I think sometimes, especially in the roofing space, we're so focused on seeing, small. And if you're not everyone, but if you're not focused on growth, your people will leave and find a place where they can grow. So you have to create an environment that gives them a roadmap to make progress as an individual.
I would say too, with employees, the gear, all the incentives are great, but be a real person and care about your people. That's a huge one. Don't act like you're greater than they are or better than they are. They just want to see you out there with them sometimes, shaking their hands. I used to make it a point, when I would go to my installs, I'm picking up garbage, right? I'm just a real person, and when I would come around, they would love it because they felt like I was a genuine, humble, middle-class guy. And I would say, just care for your people, not just for the work that they do, but genuinely care for them outside of their life as well. How are you improving their life personally? Everyone's got shit going on. We all do. We're a little fucked. And so, how are you helping people outside of their professional life and just be a real person? I think that goes so far with companies nowadays. And like I said, the gear, all that stuff's cool, but take care of your people in a genuine way and care for them.
That's incredible. Being real and really participate with your team. Don't expect things you don't actually do yourself. And we came up with the night of the month. So just give you a small example of this, and I love what you're saying. If you don't see them grow, you'll see them go. But we came up with night of the month. This relates to our wanting to provide our customers who deserve the best with customers acquisition. So the night of the month is a big chain that you can get based on things that would increase sales without being sales activities. So Google reviews, anything that could be referrals, leads. If they shop on time for 30 days. In a little bit of a personal challenge, so whoever wins can get the fulfillment to be the night of the month.
I love what Derek said. I myself, since 2012, have been there every single morning at 5:30 in the morning when the bay doors roll up. I'm the first one in there, so I can thank my installers and just tell them how grateful I am that they're going to go out there and take care of my customers today. I try and go, if I'm in the building, to any Canvas meeting or any sales meeting and just tell them how grateful I am. But, again, not because it's special to meet me or special to talk to me. I think the best currency I can give in any relationship is just being a vulnerable, real person and getting to know these people. And at my company, almost everybody knows me in a real way, and I am truly invested in them and their personal life, what's going on in their life, and truly care about it. I don't just say it or act like it, I live it. And it blows trophies or awards or trips or anything away. It's just investing in them as people.
I would say, don't make assumptions. Find people who are better than you in at least a few areas. Don't assume that other people think the way that we think, especially as a business owner. That's by far one of the biggest mistakes that I've made. Especially thinking, so I'm the type of person to where I don't need recognition, I'm too busy in the trenches. But everyone at the end of the day has a huge sign on their chest that says, make me feel important. And I think a lot of times as leaders, when we're present, we listen and we enroll that person for what they came there to do, and then fully empower them. And again, I'll continue to say this, be the chief evangelist officer. That's when people feel the most empowered. And if you can have an empowered team and everyone feels like they're the CEO of your business is gonna win every single time.
One thing I would just say too for all the entrepreneurs out there is, humble yourself sometimes and be open to criticism. I was a pretty shitty leader at times, and I wasn't good. I wasn't a good leader or a good entrepreneur, and I asked for feedback, and I got some pretty tough feedback, and literally it hurt bad. But you have to be open to that and understand that, okay, I need to get better. And the best entrepreneurs or CEOs or COOs or executives are ones that are willing to take that feedback and get better. So I would say, what are you asking your employees? How can you be better? And how do they think that you can be better and improve on? And it hurts. I've been in those situations, and man, does it hurt. But I got better because of it.
That's a bummer. I've only heard positive stuff, so I don't know. I didn't have that experience, but I get it.
Awesome. Next question.
He's the best, so.
All right, first, Gold Sun Solar. I just had to say that. This question's for David.
That was yesterday. Mike O'Donnell was up here.
No, I got a question for you, David, real quick.
What's going on here?
Oh, I just had to say it. No worries. Huh? So real quick, with talks about the tax credit going away, how do you think it's going to affect the industry? And do you have plans in place if it does?
Take the tax credit away now. I don't want the tax credit. Tax credit sucks. If we didn't have the tax credit, we could force people like Goodleap, he's sitting right over there, to lower their dealer fees. We could sell solar like a normal product, not relying on the government. Take the tax credit out. Let it go away. I don't need it. If you guys need the tax credit in order to make a deal, get out of solar. Learn how to sell now without the tax credit. With flex pay options like they offer. I'm roasting Dustin a little bit, he's right over there. But the options we have now for financing, the customer can actually save money right away without the tax credit, because they're going to refinance their house in 3.5 years anyway. They're not going to have that. It doesn't matter. I would say take the tax credit away. I don't need it. I don't want it. I'd rather sell without it. Then the industry would be completely stabilized relative to that. We still would have panel fluctuation. We'd still have issues on the manufacturing side and the distribution side, but at least we wouldn't have to worry about a tax credit every year and freak out.
Love it. Last question.
So thank you for these guys. I have two questions. First, what are some some of the key daily habits that you guys have when running your business successfully? And the second one, what would be your number one book recommendation for business owners?
What was the question again?
The first one is the key daily habits that you guys implement to run your business successfully. And the second one is the number one book recommendation for business owners.
I didn't hear the second part of that.
Best book. Best book. Best book. Daily habits within the business, Miguel? Like on a day-to-day or personally? Me individually? So everything rises and falls on leadership, and your ability to lead is based off of how you lead yourself. So for me, it comes down to consistency. Like, I don't care where I am. I created all my habits based off of, I can be in the middle of the Sahara Desert and I'll still be able to do all of my simple habits. I used to have a routine to where it was like steam room, this, that, and the third, but I'd create consistency in your schedule to where no matter what environment you're in, you can follow through with it. That way I'm not dependent on anything besides myself. And then in terms of a book, like, it's a heavy question. First thing that comes to my mind is Michael E. Gerber, The E-Myth. But then another one is like The Corporate Life Cycles of a Business, which is a really good one.
I think something that I've taken away from this conference is the principles of success are the same across the board. If you listen to Natasha when she was up here, if you listen to Eric Thomas when he was up here, if you go and listen to any of the breakout sessions, what these guys are saying, you hear the same underlying core principles of success. And like Adam said, when you're the CEO, there's no one telling you if you're not doing it right? Like, it's up to you to have self-discipline. And I think when we come to events like this, it's really easy to get motivated, right? You feel good. Like Eric Thomas comes up here, and when he's done, everybody feels great. Like, and if you don't, you probably don't have a pulse. But motivation is just a feeling. It's an emotion. And if you're counting on motivation to get you through every day, you're gonna fail, right? Because there's probably only 2, maybe 3 days out of the week where you actually feel like doing what you want to do. You're not motivated. What it really comes down to as a CEO is you have to be self-disciplined, right? You cannot lead anyone until you can lead yourself. And I was at a conference, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago. I was sitting at the airport. It was a Sunday night, and I was there with another CEO, and he's in the same industry that I am in. And he was asking me, he was like, how do I get my company to the size of your company? And he was absolutely hammered. And he was on I don't know how many different types of drugs. And it's Sunday night. And I'm thinking to myself, like, it's Sunday night, tomorrow's Monday, you're the CEO of your company, you're asking me how to grow your company and how to lead your company, you can't even lead yourself. Because Monday morning, he's probably gonna be hungover till Wednesday. Right? And so making those decisions on a daily basis to be disciplined when no one is holding you accountable but yourself is the job of the CEO, right? So like if there's one thing that you can take into this year, it's to have the ability to lead yourself every single day.
So discipline is a muscle just like any other muscle, and the more you work it, the more easy it will become. And I work that muscle constantly. I wake up every day at 4 in the morning and I work out and I meditate, I do yoga, and I go to work. And I do the same thing every day, no matter what time I go to bed, no matter what I've done. Why? Because that's what it takes for me to keep that muscle strong, so I can show up to work with boundless energy, with the discipline that it takes to do the really tough things at work, to remember to make those smart decisions and to slow down and to not be impulsive and to be organized. And those are the much harder things for me. So if I start my day off right with discipline, then it becomes much easier to make those tougher decisions and more repeatable things that will affect me during the day.
I don't think a lot of entrepreneurs have it figured out. But I would say that Jesse Itzler's actually speaking here later today, and I've watched a lot of his stuff, but I would say schedule the stuff you want to do first, like the stuff that you genuinely want to do, and then from there add in all the stuff that you have to do from a business side, and try to time block things, whether it's 30 minutes or an hour, and try to make sure you have some sort of a solidified schedule. That same goes for your team. That way you're not always in a reactive state of mind, you're in more of a proactive state of mind where it's like, hey, during these times of the day, I'm gonna focus on these things, whether that's an hour block or whatnot, but it's like, I'm not focused on anything but this. And so therefore you can be in a proactive state of mind instead of always reacting. Because as an entrepreneur, you're always gonna have shit coming at you. So the better you can prepare your employees to be proactive and you proactive, I think that will help. But I would say definitely schedule the stuff you want to do first, and everything else should go around that. And Jesse talks a lot about that. I'm sure he'll touch on it today.
So real quick, I want to comment on the book thing. There's a billion books out there, and they're all great. And you could get the entire, point of the book in probably 7 pages. So I wouldn't read any of them all the way through. I'd get Optimize or Blinkist, one of those. But you could get a PhD in business. You'll never find those books. Just surrounding yourself with like-minded people and just being open to what they bring you. I joined a group called YPO, Young Presidents Organization, and changed my life forever. The people that I got exposed to accelerated me beyond what I could ever get out of a book. So that's what I would recommend first.
Isn't your book called Wake Up at 4 a.m. and Work That Muscle?
That's what I will title it.
Right, there'll be a lot of pictures in that one, I bet.
That's awesome. I think self-improvement is the most important part. You should work on yourself harder than you work on your business or what you're doing or your employees. But do it with your employees. Do it with people you work with. Find people like Adam was talking about that are harder than you. I don't know if you like David Goggins, but he says stay hard. But just a little quick story about this. One of our guys, he's an ex-Marine, okay? So I'm always feeling like I'm doing great with working out. So one day I tell him, I live about 5 miles away from the office, so I told him I ran to the office. The next day, I'm telling them this, and when I'm telling the story, I ran to the office in the morning, he's looking at me and he went blank. I'm like, what? Why is he not listening to me anymore? The next day, he ran from his house to the office. It was 22 miles before 6 o'clock in the morning. So if you surround yourself, like Adam's talking about, with better people, that's gonna help you tremendously to keep yourself to improve. Books that I would recommend is the one thing, we'll talk about this a little bit, Traction, absolutely. There's another one, Rocket Fuel, that's from the same author. And for mindset, for your whole team and for yourself, Relentless by Tim Grover, one of my favorite mentor that I never met, but if anybody can put me in front of him, I will love that. So hope that answers your question.
And find somebody better in your industry that's and reach out to them as a mentor, like a couple of you said. I mean, you'd be amazed at how open people will be. I mean, I've had many conversations with David on the phone. He's like an open book. Mikey Hines, Bright Planet, like that guy helped me so much when I was first starting an operations company. It's amazing if you just reach out to people individually how open they are to helping you. They actually want to see you succeed. So the books, the masterminds are great, but like reach out to somebody that's better than you and see how you can help them, but ask them like questions, and I'm sure a lot of them will answer and help you out.